Can't you imagine the world of Pokémon? A world where in Generation 2, Santa Claus literally exists in the form of Delibird, who carries food all day long and shares the food with people lost in the mountains, or Pokémon like Togepi and Blissey that have eggs filled with happiness that'll bring a smile to anyone. And who can forget Gligar? They fly straight to its victim's face and clamp down on the startled victims to inject poison. Oh wait, the Pokemon world in real life would be horrific! What's up guys, it's Daz here, but you don't really care. And here's why you should be glad Pokemon is not a real thing. So previously I talked about the major problems with Generation 1 and pretty much took on the bulk of what's wrong with the world. But with Generation 2 comes new Pokemon, new mechanics and just new problems. Starting off, two new types were introduced at this point, Dark type and Steel type. Now really, I don't have much of a problem with the Dark type. Things look a little more gloomy and dark, but other than that, nothing is too lethal. But Steel type, metal creatures with the ability to attack in a variety of ways? That's like if cars were sentient. Even people get killed by cars when we control them carelessly. But what if a car controls itself and has no interest in being safe? Let's look at Skarmory for example. I know, not a car, but still, a Steel bird. According to the Pokédex, it can reach speeds close to 190 miles per hour and slashes foes with its wings that possess sword-like cutting edges, which grow back completely once a year. Anger one of these things in the wild and say goodbye to your arms, or even worse, give that Skarmory to a twisted criminal and they're pretty invincible. You can't shoot without arms, and don't even get me started on Steelix. Okay, so new types, that's one thing, but maybe the Pokemon won't be the only problems arising. With some new mechanics, I can imagine the people will become pretty bad themselves. With Generation 2 came genders, and with that came breeding, literally forcing two compatible Pokemon together to create the perfect offspring for you to bend to your will depending on what you need. But then again, we kinda do that to some animals in real life anyway. I'm looking at you dogs, especially pugs. They literally cannot breathe properly, we screwed up. But anyway, I'm getting a little off topic. So let's say we've got the perfect Pokemon breed, everything we could ever want in one. Well, we no longer need any other Pokemon in our back pockets, so where do you put them? In the Pokemon storage system of course, with an additional 2 boxes of space from Generation 2. Now they can wallow in depression there for as long as you like until you take them out again. If you ever do. Of course, we would never do that, it's just an option, right? I mean, I personally... Oh my god, is that a shiny? I need it! You don't understand, you don't understand. I just need this Pokemon. I need it. Shiny Pokemon were introduced in Generation 2. They sparkle at the start of battle, have a 1 in 8,192 chance of appearing, and come in a distinctly different color to the original. Unless you're colorblind. On top of that, while it's not the case later on, some shinies in Generation 2 are slightly stronger than the original. And you can imagine with their inclusion, there would be a massive market towards them. Trading and selling Pokemon across the world for a couple million Pokédollars like some kind of object? Seems reasonable. Or let's take it further. Poaching Pokemon for discolored body parts. Want a red Gyarados tail? You can probably find it somewhere. It may even get to the point where a group of dedicated poachers will be willing to burn down entire forests in search of that one Hoot Hoot. Shiny Pokemon. Good on paper, bad in practice. I would go on to say that people would also consider stealing Pokemon from other trainers due to their high shiny value, but I guess that wasn't properly introduced until the Snag Machine in Pokemon Colosseum and XD, which takes place in Generation 3. Though maybe that's just a moral thing stopping the player in the other games. Okay, that's enough about the people. Let's focus back to the Pokemon, or more specifically, their moves. Generation 2 brought a few new moves to the table, so let me introduce you to some of them. Attract, the ability to infatuate targets of the opposite gender. Sounds quite nice, huh? Falling in love with the Pokemon. But my main point was not the potential for bestiality controversy, but actually the fact that this is basically emotional manipulation. On some level, that's got to be immoral. Sure, we're talking about a world where we pit animals in a fight to the to the faint, to the unconscious, to whatever. Still, you can use attract in scenarios other than battle, and that would be bad. But how about Encore? Forcing the target to repeat their last move 2 to 6 times. I can't think of any real-world applications for this, but I bet it can get pretty messy. Other than emotional and physical manipulation, how about psychological manipulation with Nightmare? literally condemning your target to a horrifying experience while they sleep, probably without their consent too. Sounds like a good plan for that one ex you hated, but still, very immoral and probably illegal. But that's enough about manipulating people and Pokemon. How about the weather? The true disasters can start here. Sunny day. Ah, a nice warm sunny atmosphere. Sounds nice. If you're not in the middle of a drought or enjoying some snowy winter wonderland. In general, it's quite nice if not a little inconvenient at times. Rain dance, again, not too devastating. Then again, I guess if you had multiple Pokemon doing it consecutively, you could theoretically make it rain constantly. Then you've got yourself the potential for the plot of Heavy Rain. Also ruins the mood for some people, especially if it was sunny beforehand. Sandstorm. Now things could get a little troublesome. Sandstorms aren't nice. I'm not sure where the sand comes from exactly, but this has the potential for traffic accidents everywhere if it appears seemingly out of nowhere. And then we have magnitude. The ability to create earthquakes from a magnitude of 4 to 10. Well, not an earthquake exactly, since we already have the earthquake as a move, but you know what I mean. Significant tectonic shifts are sure to do some damage to the world and the environment if every 10-year-old kid on the street has the ability to use it. Not to mention, in general, I expect constantly manipulating the weather is gonna mess something up. Plus, you'd probably also be able to start some sort of weather war with people, where one person has a Pokemon with sunny day wanting a nice day on the beach, or someone down the road wants a rainy day, so is always doing rain dances with their Ludicolos to cool down or something. And so the two would constantly bicker using their Pokemon moves. Well, at least you could look up to the sky for entertainment, if not get a seizure or something. Okay, so I've done a lot of talking about the new mechanics and the additions in Generation 2, and while I could continue with the new Pokeballs introduced, which, you know, just as immoral as throwing an animal into a tiny ball anyway, let's move on to the actual new Pokemon, which I've barely spoken about so far. Looking at starters, we've got Chikorita, who waves its leaf around, creating a sweet fragrance, becalming Pokemon and creating a cozy, friendly atmosphere all around. Ah, quite nice. Then we have Cyndaquil and Quilava. They have fire on their backs. Not safe. Typhlosion, when enraged, will erupt you into flames if you touch it. Great for babysitting. Totodile. This baby croc's jaw is so well developed and powerful, it's capable of crushing anything. Even its trainer must be careful. It gets worse with Croconaw. Once its jaw is clamped on its foe, it will absolutely not let go, because the tips of its fang are forked like barbed fish hooks. They become impossible to remove when they have sunk in. Ouch! For Alligator, when it bites, it shakes its head and savagely tears its victim up. Just dead. This isn't a sting or a paralysis. This is straight up dead. Maimed. Dead. Savage. Dead. Dead. That's just the starters. Literally the first thing a 10-year-old in this generation gets. Pichu. Aw, so cute. If it gets startled or amused, it may jolt you. Yanma. If it flaps its wings really fast, it can generate shock waves that will shatter windows in the area. Not good for cities or cars. Everyone would have glass in their eyes, or would be completely flattened by all of the falling glass coming from a skyscraper. Misdreavus. A Pokemon that startles people in the middle of the night. It gathers fear as its energy. Lovely. Granbull. It is timid in spite of its looks. But if it becomes enraged, it will strike with its huge fangs. Say goodbye to your thorax. Quillfish. It shoots the poison spines on its body in all directions. Its round form makes it a poor swimmer, so it literally kills everything in the vicinity if it goes in all directions. Ugh. Heracross. With its Herculean powers, it can easily throw an object that is 100 times its own weight with its own prized horn. Yeah. Magcargo. Its body is as hot as lava and is always billowing. Flames will occasionally burst from its shell. Magcargo's body temperature is approximately 18,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Water is vaporized on contact. If this Pokemon is caught in the raindrops instantly turn into steam, cloaking the area in a thick fog. I see no problems here. Octillery. It traps its foes with the suction cups on its tentacles, then smashes them with its rock-hard head. Houndoom. Looks like your generic, kind of scary, little intimidating dog Pokemon. The flames it breathes when angry contain toxins. If they cause a burn, it'll hurt forever. That's it. burn heals apparently don't work, it will hurt forever. I don't want that as a pet. I don't want a neighbor as that as a pet. No! Kingdra. It is said that it usually hides in underwater caves. It can create whirlpools by yawning. Great. Donphan. It attacks by curling up, then rolling into its foes. It can blow apart a house in one hit. A rolling elephant. That's no, never. Porygon 2. Further research enhanced its abilities. Sometimes it may exhibit motions that were not programmed. Basically, AI taking over the world potential here. Smeargle. There's nothing too dangerous about this thing, but I think it would be entertaining to watch just a Pokemon with a tail paintbrush painting. Sounds nice. Hitmontop. Hitmontop spins on its heads at high speed, all while delivering kicks. This technique is a remarkable mix of both offense and defense at the same time. The Pokemon travels faster spinning than it does walking, increasing destructive power by 10. Don't let that thing kick you, you will die. Probably worse than getting kicked in the face by a horse. Magpie. It's small, but its body temperature is over 1,100 degrees Fahrenheit. Embers escape its mouth and nose when it breathes. Again, very hot, very dangerous. Ugh, this is just death everywhere. Militank. Militank gives over 5 gallons of milk on a daily basis. Its sweet milk is enjoyed by children and grown-ups alike. People who can't drink milk turn it into yogurt and eat it instead. That's actually quite nice. The idea of... actually, no, wait, wasn't that just a cow? Still, you know, at least it's not murdering everyone in the vicinity. Pupitar. Its body is as hard as bedrock. By venting pressurized gas, it can launch itself like a rocket. Its shell is as hard as sheetrock, and it is also very strong. Its thrashing can topple a mountain. What? A mountain? And if this thing can, like, launch itself like a rocket, and it's as hard as bedrock or sheetrock, you're gonna die if it hits you. And it's a Pupitar. And then the evolution of that, Tyranitar, one of my personal favorites. In just one of its mighty hands, it has the power to make the ground shake and mountains crumble. If it rampages, it knocks down mountains and buries rivers. Maps must be redrawn afterwards. Oh my god, how is this not extinct yet? How have we not destroyed it for our own safety? Mainly because it doesn't exist, but still, if it did exist, it shouldn't. Does that make sense? And then we come to the legendary Pokemon of Generation 2. We have Raikou, the rain clouds. I don't know why I'm rolling my R's. The rain clouds it carries lets it fire thunderbolts at will. They say that it descended with lightning. Raikou embodies the speed of lightning. The roars of this Pokemon send shockwaves shuddering through the air and shake the ground as if lightning bolts had come crashing down. This is fair enough, it's a Thundercat. Oh my god, it's a Thundercat. Huh. Anyway, Entei. It's said that when it roars, a volcano erupts somewhere around the globe. Does that mean the volcano erupted because of the roar, or the roar happened when a volcano erupts? Either way, that's really bad for anyone, for everyone. And then you've got Suicune, said to be the embodiment of north winds. It can instantly purify filthy, murky water. Huh. That's actually quite nice. It just purifies polluted water. Alright then. Lugia. It sleeps in a deep sea trench. If it flaps its wings, it is said to cause a 40-day storm. Lugia's wings pack devastating power. A light fluttering of its wings can blow apart regular houses. As a result, this Pokemon chooses to live out of sight deep under the sea. Well, it's quite nice that it tries to, you know, not blow up houses. It can cause a 40-day storm. That's not good for anybody. And then you got Celebi. This Pokemon wanders across time. Grass and trees flourish in the forests in which it appears, though it only appears during times of peace. But still, I guess that's quite nice. But yeah. So yeah, that's the end of this video. Pokemon sounds nice on paper, sounds nice in your 3DS, but not good in real life. Not to mention, as every game seems to continue, it's not just entirely exclusive Generation 2 Pokemon you see. You're still going to be getting those Pikachus and what have yous from Generation 1, and so it's just going to develop into this world that's growing bigger and bigger. I'm not even sure if we can fit all this in Australia anymore. At this point, it's probably going to just over time envelop the whole world full of these deadly Pokemon that can kill anything and anyone they choose to. In this scenario, would humans even stay as the dominant species? I mean, sure, their other Pokemon aren't as intelligent, they're still wild creatures, but intelligence doesn't do much when anything and everything can kill you, unless you literally dig a hole and hide. But then you probably have to deal with those digging Pokemon that'll kill you instead. I don't know, I'm thinking way too far into this. But in general, the Pokemon world, Generation 1 and Generation 2, would be a disaster. And you should be glad that it's only in your Nintendo devices, because out here it would be nightmares out here. For now, my name's been Daz, you didn't really care, and I'll see you in a bit.